Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Eating While Broke. I'm your host, Coline Witt, and today we have very special guest comedian and actor, legendary comedian actor. Legendary. Yeah, you've been in the game long enough to be legendary. Tony Baker's in the building.
How you doing?
Good. I'm very
good to be here.
Very excited to have you on the show. A little concerned about the dish you're going to be having me eat today.
Why are you concerned?
I'm concerned. I'm excited because I've never had this dish on the show. We've taped like 115 episodes.
Oh, wow.
So to never have a dish is like very amazing. I literally hate ramen to the ultimate max. I've had great ramen and terrible ramen.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about this dish, but I literally had called like 5 people like, I think he's just testing to see if I'm going to eat this.
Because it's crazy. It's a crazy combo.
Dish. So go ahead and tell everybody what your dish is.
So my dish is cream corn sandwiches. Okay. Now this is not something I ate on the regular. It was a one-time only affair.
Yeah.
One and done.
A one and done. That means it's not good.
I don't remember what it tastes like.
Oh my God.
It was just like, man, I got cream corn in here. There's bread.
And before he started taping, he was like, I'm not really going to eat this, right? And I was like, oh, heck no. You know you're going to eat this with me.
No, you can eat it ladies first.
I don't mind. I mean, I'm Jamaican, so we eat literally everything.
Good.
At least once.
That's how it should be.
At least once. So go ahead, start making this. The ingredients are, what's the ingredients for your dish today?
So we got the cream corn, okay? First of all, I haven't had cream corn. I feel like I haven't had cream corn since I had the cream corn sandwich. I don't know. I can't remember. Yeah. Of course, cream corn. I like the spray, now, I didn't use the coconut oil back then. I think I used just whatever. I think we had Pam in there. Whatever we had, I just sprayed the pan up with that because I grilled the bread. And just some wheat bread. It might not even been wheat then. I don't know. Like, I feel like it was wheat. This was like, mind you, this was 99. I think this was 99.
And
maybe even 98.
So you went as far as to makeshift cook this dish. So you took the cream corn, you heated up in the pot, I'm assuming, and you actually made the bread. So this was a very thought out.
Well, I mean, I was trying to jazz it up as much as possible. Like I'll
jazz it up for who?
Me.
Okay.
Me.
Okay.
It was desperate measures, but at least I can class it up.
Okay.
Well, I feel like when you grill the bread, you're classing it up a little bit.
Go ahead and make me this gourmet cream corn. I can't remember the last time I had cream corn. I'm like nervous and excited because I remember liking it back in the day.
Cream corn was a good time.
Yeah.
Cream corn was like, oh, we having cream corn?
Yeah.
It was a good time.
When I was a kid, it was a good time.
I mean, taste buds change. We get bougie.
Yeah.
We think we better than stuff we used to have.
And you're vegan now, right?
I'm 100% vegetarian, mostly vegan. Now, why I say that is because, like, if I want a cookie, I'm not gonna be like,
is that real butter?
Milk chocolate, and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get the cookie.
Okay.
So it's like, or if I want, like, if I go to the Waffle House and I get a waffle.
Okay. You're not gonna. Okay.
If I got that.
Because you were specific about, if you can find vegan.
Well, I know because the canned stuff, they add a lot of animal. Whatever.
Okay.
So I tend to avoid anything with animal life.
Okay. Okay. Is there a reason for that?
The milk I'll let slide, but if it's like, like the pork and beans or there's gelatin in this, the animal bones or whatever. So that's what I meant.
Animal bones?
Well, gelatin is like usually animal bone.
Oh.
Yeah. So unless it's
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So.
Does it smell like cream corn? Take a whiff of it. Is it nostalgic? Yeah, that tastes. That smells official.
It takes you right to
it takes you right.
Time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I haven't had cream corn in mad long.
Okay.
Okay, so now I'm gonna get I hate electric stoves.
Yeah, I know you told me. But this one gets hot real fast. Look. Why do you hate it? You see that?
Because I feel like I can never get the heat right. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget one time I was visiting my brother in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I was bragging about my French toast the whole week. Really? I was like, man, my French toast is legendary, man. Y'all ain't ready for this.
Damn, I love French toast.
And at this time, like he was his girl was living with him. His girlfriend had 2 twin boys, and they were like teenagers. Mm-hmm. I had my family there, so it was like I was talking cat. Can I cuss on here?
Yeah.
I was talking cash shit, and then I was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying. And then when I made that big breakfast for everybody, that French toast was terrible.
All because of the electric stove.
Yeah, because it was burning. Oh. Like I burnt the majority of the French toast, and I was like, man, I'm done.
I think the secret to good French toast is, and my twin could debate this, but a healthy balance of butter and sugar. Am I right?
No.
Sugar.
I gotta disagree.
Sugar.
I gotta disagree.
Sugar.
The sugar, you don't need to add the sugar to the French toast.
Oh, see, my twin just did that to me, and I'll be honest. She was like, did you try it? Did you try it? And I was like, yeah, I needed sugar.
Because you got the syrup. What you need the sugar for?
Oh, I'm scared to try your French toast. I'm glad we stick with it.
You know what I'm saying?
He said it was legendary. No, the trick to great French toast is to make sure you add cinnamon and sugar.
And syrup? You still doing
and
the syrup? You doing too much.
Yeah,
you one of those people that put powdered sugar on top of the French toast? You like that?
No, but I mean, if there was.
Because that's how they do it at restaurants.
Yeah, I would if there was.
Oh.
But I'll tell you right now, I just had French toast from my twin the other day. She was raving about it, and she said that she used a little bit of a combo mix of cinnamon with sugar in it. Uh-huh. And I tried it. It just tasted like cinnamon toast.
Oh, so did she get the egg and the evaporated milk? And
you put evaporated milk in it.
Yeah, you gotta.
That's a cheat.
You got to make the roux. The roux is essential. So
okay, wait. Tell us how to make this good French toast.
Okay, so you need eggs, a little evaporated milk, nutmeg, cinnamon, vanilla extract, and butter is like optional, but you're going to use the butter.
I just use the butter on the
pan.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So get the crispy.
Yeah, of course. So, have that little butter hint.
Yeah. So that's it.
With the evaporated milk, huh?
The evaporated milk. Yeah.
So that's like the same as sugar, kinda.
But it's not sugar.
I want to try this.
It's good.
Oh my God, I want to try this.
As long as I don't make it on the electric stove, it's fire.
So.
And now that they got like they have this French toast, they kind of make bread now where they kind of cater to French toast.
Like the brioche bread or something?
The brioche is fantastic.
Yeah.
But they have
I've never made it on brioche bread. I think I tried it once and I messed it up. It's good.
Oh, it's a great time.
Damn, you make me want to try this French toast.
Because I feel like out of the breakfast trio, the Holy Trinity, waffles, pancakes, and French toast.
French toast is number one.
French toast, if it's made at the highest level, is number one. Now, why I say that is because most restaurants fumble the French toast.
Yeah, they do.
So
I think most restaurants can't cook breakfast, period, though.
Yeah.
I think the only place, honestly, like if someone were like, hey, let's meet for breakfast, the only place I'm choosing is Blue Jam Cafe. That's it.
They got a good.
They got the little.
They got like a good vegan scramble thing over there.
Really?
Like, yeah.
I like their little potatoes, but everywhere else, absolutely not. I'll just cook breakfast at my house. But now take me back to what was going on during this cream corn sandwich era.
Okay, so we in college. I went to New Mexico State in 1998. And I know some people watching gonna be like, 98? Man, did they have cars then? That's crazy. Was that Prohibition? Al Capone? It was 98. And so, we broke.
Yeah.
We getting financial aid. We out here scrambling. And at that time, I think I might have been working on campus, like work study job or whatever, in Department of Black Programs. So, times was hard. And we already in a poor state. So we poor in a poor state, poor college students. So we ended up, and at this time, so this is probably, I want to say this was 99 because I was an alumni of 98. So this was 99 when I had the cream corn sandwich. So I was illegally staying with my homeboys, Andre and Jamal. They were living on campus and they had the 4 bedrooms. I wasn't supposed to be in there. So we broke into one of the rooms pretty much, and I was staying in one of the rooms.
Broke into one of the rooms?
Well, not broke in, kick in the door, but it was like I wasn't supposed to be there.
Okay, got it.
But I was staying in there. So I was illegal. Technically, I was homeless, but not really.
Okay,
I was
got it.
At this time. So it was.
Now it's coming full circle. Okay, we're getting it now.
I'm technically homeless.
You're homeless.
He's staying in Vista Del Monte was the name of him. And I think I got in academic trouble or whatever, and I couldn't stay there anymore. So it was like, well, the door is open, Tom. You just, crash with us. I was like, bet. So we in there, and one night, I mean, it was cream corn in the crib. It was bread. It was toast. Time was hard.
Heck no.
We was playing the Sega Dreamcast. And I was like...
And all y'all went in on this bread in this corn.
I feel like it was just me this night.
Okay,
I don't know where everybody else was at. They might have went to Jack in the Box. I don't know where everybody was at. Because this ain't the kind of meal...
Was Jack in the Box around back then?
Absolutely.
Okay.
1,000%.
Okay.
Listen.
Okay. I know. I'm an 80s baby, okay?
And plus, you from the East Coast.
Yeah. We don't have that. I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's a LA thing or any city, but New York thing.
Okay. So that it was cream corn in there and it was bread. Once you got bread, you make it.
Did you at least have a car? So you were like just stuck in the crib and you had these are my options.
I had a car, but I didn't have
the bread. Okay.
The money bread. I had the bread.
So you was hungry. You said, let's make it through. You get in the kitchen and this is what you whip up.
I was like, let's bring them together.
At that time, did you know you were inching towards the entertainment business at that point? Or what were you going to school for?
I was going to school for, I've always wanted to be an actor, to be honest with you. But I felt like, I was in New Mexico at the time. I was raised in Chicago. Moved to New Mexico because my brother got stationed there in the Air Force, and I ended up going to New Mexico State. But I was like,
wait, you moved to New Mexico because your brother?
My oldest brother, he was he joined the Air Force. He went to Hawaii for his first order. Then New Mexico was his second order, and he was like, "Why don't y'all come stay, with me in New Mexico?" And my mom was born and raised in Chicago, so she was like, "I'm down for something different." And then at that time, I was scared of nuclear war.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm down to move because Chicago gonna get hit early. It's gonna be New York, LA, Chicago. So I was like, let's get it. I was terrified.
Okay.
Of nuclear war. So I was like, yeah, I'm down. So we moved out there because of that. Okay. So I went to New Mexico State and I was majoring in psychology first. And I was never college was never something I really wanted to do. But I was like, let me just do it. I was going to the community college at first in Clovis, New Mexico. And then my friend Andre was like, yo, I'm going to New Mexico State. I was like, I'll go with you. And so I went out there. So majored in psychology. That was the initial major, but it was boring. I was like, man, these classes.
Psychology was boring.
I was mad bored.
Okay.
And so I was like.
Good to know. Yeah. I've always wondered about it, but good to know. It was boring. Okay.
Mind you, I'm just doing the basics. I ain't even getting to the heavy psychology courses, but it was just like, man, I ain't feeling none of this. Because I knew I wanted to act. Yeah. Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be in TV and movies. Because I was obsessed with TV and movies, especially movies. But New Mexico just felt, at that time, it felt like a world away from Hollywood. I was like, man, they ain't filming nothing in New Mexico. Yeah. And mind you, fast forward, they would. But at that time, I was just like, ain't nothing cracking out here. Let me major in something regular. And so it was psychology. And then I changed it to secondary education science.
Okay, that's a hard subject.
So I was gonna teach because I was like, I like biology. You know what I'm saying? I could teach because I feel like teaching would be a form of performing, kind of sort of. So, and I'm good with the youth. And so I was like, yeah, secondary education. I can teach middle school, high school.
Okay.
Them science classes was kicking my ass. Chemistry tore my asshole open twice. Then ecology tore me in half. Genetics tore me in half. Physics, I ain't even. I was like, I'm dropping this one. And so I was like, I can't do the science.
Yeah.
You know, astronomy I ace, but everything else tore me up. So I was like, secondary education, social studies. I changed my major again. Okay. I can teach history.
Okay.
History is not hard. There ain't no formulas. Ain't no X outside of the parentheses. None of that. Ain't no quadratic equations I got to worry about. So I changed it to that. And then that was the plan. I was like, all right, I'm going to teach.
Oh, you did good in it.
I was thriving. I was like,
okay.
Now, you know what I'm saying? Now I can get
You're like, I found a path.
I found the path.
Okay, so did you end up graduating with it?
I didn't graduate because it was like, while in college, I auditioned for a play. It was of Mice and Men. I played Crooks. Crooks is like this disabled black man within the play. So I played that, won an award for it, and then, because I never thought I wanted to do theater. I was like, man, I just want to do TV and film. Theater looks, I did theater. I was like, man, this shit is dope.
Really?
I was like, man, this is dope.
Okay.
And so I was like, so at this time, I've already put years into these other studies. So now I'm just like, man, I should have majored in theater the whole goddamn time.
Oh, that was an option.
Yes.
Oh my
I could have majored in theater.
Yeah. Okay.
I was like, but I was always just hating on theater.
So how'd you end up in the theater play? You just tried out without being auditioned. In the Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
You
cool.
know, it was on campus. It was a play on campus. So I was like, let me audition. Got the role, did well, got the award. Then I did another play with that same director. It was like a holiday play, so we were playing various characters. And I was like,
you loved it.
And then this one guy saw me. I think he saw me of Mice and Men. So he was doing his own version of Fences by August Wilson. Denzel ended up doing it. So he wanted me to play Troy, the lead. And I was like, man, that's a lot to
memorize.
Yeah, I did it. I memorized that whole thing, and I was just like, at that point, I was just like, I'm going for the acting.
Yeah.
I have to.
Yeah.
I was always into it. I was always like, I was doing like Vine videos in the 90s. Like I was just making little sketches and skits and stuff like that with a camcorder and just like, I was always on that type of time. And I was just like, man, I just got to go for it. Because I knew if I got my degree, I'm not going to go as hard. I'm going to be teaching. I'm going to be grading papers. I'm going to be teaching summer school.
And what was your family saying during all of this?
My family was like, whatever you want to do. Like they would never, it was never any like, you should do this or you should do that. It was just like, oh, okay. Either way. And so I was like, all right. I was kind of scared to tell my dad that I was dropping out because he was more, how those grades doing? My mom was just like, do you? Pops was just like, what the grades looking like? Or he would send like extra money if the grades were good. So it was like, I was just kind of like, I don't want to, you know.
So how'd you break it to him?
I just told him, I was like, yeah. Because I was 2 full semesters shy of a degree.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I was right there, but I was like, but I know myself.
Yeah.
And I knew like, once I started teaching, I'm not going to be going to these auditions. I'm not going to be scrambling. I'm going to be teaching, grading papers, and I'll be like, nah. It's that safety net. It's just like, but if I go out here where this is the focus.
So what was your next plan? So you deliver the news to Dad. He takes it pretty okay?
He was like, okay. You know.
I ain't sending no more money. No,
I mean,
I'm asking, like, was he like that?
He never said that, but it was just like, but I really wasn't hitting him up for the bread that anyway.
Yeah.
So it was like, this is what I'm doing. Because I'm very like strong-willed. And so I'd be like, I don't even want to hear what you got to say.
Oh my God.
So it's like,
so then what was your plan? Where'd you go from there? Did you move to LA? What'd you do?
So what happened was, at this time, I started doing all the plays and stuff in like 2003. I got married in 2003 also.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had 2 boys before we got married.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up having the boys, and then we got married in 2003. So my ex-wife she's a nurse, so she can get a job anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like, she was just like, Callie, huh? You know what I'm saying? She had a cousin that was already out here, and she's a nurse as well, so she had that in.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was just like, all right. So she was down. So we made the move in 2006.
Okay.
Now at this time, my oldest son was 6. My youngest probably 4. And so made the move. Came out here, lived in Orange for that first year.
Live in what?
Orange County.
Oh, in Orange County?
Yeah.
Orange County, was it expensive back then?
Yeah, it's always been expensive.
Oh, okay. I was just curious.
I mean?
Okay.
And so,
because she already had semi-relationships.
she had to
over
connect,
there.
and her cousin was already like in
there,
Newport Beach.
That's a nice area. That's an expensive area, but yeah. So how was you handling that?
I was like, when you're not from here, you just looking at the little map, and you're like, oh, I could just drive. LA is like right there. But then that traffic was tearing my booty hole loose.
You and these booty holes. Yo, his booty hole references,
booty hole was torn loose. And so
you were good at reading maps too, huh?
Let me toast this bread. Because I had the atlas. Remember the big thick big booty atlas you can get from Walmart?
Yeah.
It had every state in there.
Yeah.
I'm using that.
But you know how to, because when I first moved here, I would try to read those maps and I'd be lost in the same 2 miles for like hours. Like, I don't know how to read this thing.
And
thank God MapQuest came and saved my life.
MapQuest saved my ass.
But so you move here. Is your wife now at this point like the primary breadwinner?
1,000%.
Now, how did that make you feel?
Oh man! So I was the house husband at this time.
Oh my gosh!
So I'm holding the kids down. I'm getting them signed up for school. I'm taking them to school. I'm getting all that done. So I'm handling the boy. I'm cooking. I'm doing all this.
Okay, that's cool.
So I was the housewife.
Okay.
Basically.
How I have to ask these questions because I want to know, but like, how did you handle that? Were you just like, I know what I'm here for, so I know it's going to take time?
Yeah.
How did she handle that? Like, what kind of strains? Like, what was the emotional behind the scenes? Like, how did you feel during that period?
Emotionally, for me, I felt like a failure in a sense because it was like, because my wife, she knew she was going to be a nurse from high school. So it was just like, boom, pow, 4 years, degree. Me, I'm changing my major, I'm failing, I'm on academic probation. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of uncertainty. So I was in limbo in terms of drive, career, goals. I'm in limbo from like essentially 98 to when I started doing stand-up in 2008.
Wow.
Even though I picked up on the acting thing and I was like fun, but I was still just like,
of course, because
I'm
it's
a
not
father
certain
yet,
right?
I'm a father now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I can't be doing. I should have figured all this out. So I'm in my head a lot. So, so that gets in your head. It's like, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want this to be it, even though I know you got to work hard at it. But it's just like, I got a family though, you know. And so,
so you're like juggling like whether you're making the right decisions too, or.
And then it was like. And then when you get out here, it's daunting. Like you have the fantasy in your head, like I'm gonna get off the Greyhound. The director's gonna see me. I'm like, yeah, I want you in my new picture. You know what I'm saying? You always hear these little stories, and so, but that's not the reality. So the reality is you're doing extra work. You're sitting in traffic. You're driving. You on set doing extra work for scraps for long hours, and so that's the reality. And so it's like, I'm just like, oh man, this sucks. This is not what I thought it was gonna be. And so,
how's your wife at the time dealing with you kind of going through the motions and her being the primary? Did she handle it okay? Or?
She did. Like in hindsight, she handled it like a G.
Okay.
Because she was, you know what I'm saying? Because she was working. Because on her end, she was doing what she always sought out to do. You know,
so she was happy. She had like a good home, and then she had her career.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she working. Cool. She being a nurse, She's trying different things within that,
Mm-hmm.
and was always able to find work because we lived in Orange that first year, then we moved to Burbank. Burbank was a much better location.
Okay.
Because
especially for your career, yeah.
That's
exactly.
And so it's like Burbank felt like a small town right next to LA.
Mm-hmm.
So I could just go over the hill and go to an audition or whatever, and it was just like, then come back. It was safe. The schools were good.
Yeah.
So it was just like
perfect.
The only thing it was a little too non-black, but other than that,
I'm like, something smells like it's burning. I don't know what.
I don't know if it's this or this is extra smoky right here. And this is what I'm talking about with the electric stove. It's always some bullshit.
What is I'm like, something's burning. I smell it.
Yeah. Like, what happened? What changed?
What changed? Is it your toast?
It can't be the toast.
Is it?
Because I just dropped these.
Look,
but that's extra smoky.
Okay, we're gonna pray that Tony doesn't burn down the set.
Let me serve you up.
So in 2008, now is this in 2008 when you moved to Burbank, or when
moved to Burbank 2007?
Okay, so then
at 6 to 7 was Orange,
and so you were doing acting auditions, and then once you moved to Burbank, you start doing stand up.
I started doing stand up in 2008.
Now, what was that first experience like, and what made you actually say, okay, I'm gonna go for stand up?
So what happened was, we got to go back to New Mexico State again.
Okay.
So I was very much involved in. Oh
my gosh, it smells official.
Yeah, it's that cream corn.
I think you're gonna like this.
You say what?
You gonna like this.
I mean, I might. I am hungry. I haven't eaten today, so.
I ate because I knew what we were gonna eat.
Oh, so you already.
Yeah, because I just was like, man, I don't know. I thought you were pranking me for a second.
Oh, ye of little faith. Now, we can do this two ways. You can either...
I'm going to do it the way you did it. I think I'm going to pour it on here.
Pour it on the bread and fold it. That's what I did.
Fold it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you can just make it a real sandwich.
Okay,
the reason I did the fold is because it's wet. It's like, it's cream corn, so... Having a sloppy sandwich like that's not a sloppy Joe just didn't make a lot of sense.
This is hilarious.
So I'd rather do the fold. This is crazy. But
what happened in New Mexico? Go take us back to New Mexico.
So, let me get back up in here.
I'm excited to try this too.
Don't be too excited, man. Lower your expectations. This is Desperate Measures.
Okay, guys. So just so you know, I broke my little bread in half.
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting my like this, right?
Yeah, just throw it up there.
I can't believe you did this.
I did, man. It was time.
I literally was like, oh, he's pranking us.
I wouldn't do that to y'all. All right, here we go.
Oh my gosh.
Here we go. It tastes like bread and cream corn.
Yeah, it does.
That's all it is.
I would eat the cream corn plain, man.
The bread is just to add some extra heft.
Yeah, the bread and cream corn isn't hitting, but try a bite of that cream corn straight. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you something. Mm-hmm. It's remarkably great. You gonna go home and get some cream corn after this.
It's like old time.
Tell me it ain't great.
That's a good time. Cream corn is good.
Cream corn, man.
Cream corn is
Why
good
did we give up on cream corn?
I don't know.
I can't believe how great it is.
I don't know why we gave up on cream corn. We turned our backs. Hold on, let me turn my clock off. I'll be intermittent fasting.
Intermittent? What does that mean? You don't eat till 3 o'clock?
Yeah, usually like sometimes even later. Hold on. So I'm breaking my fast on this show.
Yo, you know what? We appreciate you, but I gotta say this. I don't know why I gave up cream corn. It is simply amazing.
You having something tonight?
I'm having some. I have extra hands. Tell me it's
good
bomb,
time.
right?
That's
why
a
do
good
we
time.
not eat cream corn? It's vegan. What are you gonna
Stats ain't even crazy.
By the way, for all y'all listeners, Tony is in remarkable shape.
Oh, thank you. Remarkable
shape. I was like trying to pick the aprons, and I try to stay away from white because I'm a sizable person. But you're in such great shape. I was like, he can handle white.
Thank you.
He doesn't need to hide.
Man.
But no, cream corn is honestly, I would ditch the bread, but the cream corn.
Cream corn.
That is amazing.
Remember Black Dynamite, cream corn?
No.
You never seen Black Dynamite?
I don't think so. I have a terrible memory though. I've probably seen it, don't remember.
You gotta
I'm gonna eat all this cream corn.
Yeah, let's finish the cream corn. Anyway, so while I'm in New Mexico State, I'm telling you, I'm just creative. I'm a performer naturally, I guess, and so I'm hosting whatever the Department of Black Programs was doing. I was involved in. So, like, if we had an MC battle, I would be the host. If we was having a pageant, I was hosting that. It was just I was always like, I wanted to get my creative juices out. So I'm just doing all that.
And you were obviously good at it if they keep letting you redo it.
Yeah, it was just like, and I was naturally funny. I wasn't even trying to be funny. I didn't even become aware of my humor and being funny until, so I was doing all that hosting. Because growing up, I was funny, but my older brothers never laughed. So it's like, I'm at the crib and I'm cracking jokes.
They a tough critic, huh?
I'm chiming in on their jokes. They're giving me nothing.
Are you the youngest though?
I'm the youngest of three boys.
Oh, well, that's why.
So it's just like, man, look at it, man, beat it, kid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so
I'm trying to hang.
Man, I'm trying to get in. I'm trying to get my little jokes out. Hey, all right, go to bed. Yeah. And so, so I'm in school thinking I'm not funny. I'm cracking up my classmates. They laughing, but it's still just like, yeah, I ain't funny at home. So I'm just like, I don't know what they laughing at. So in my mind, I'm not even registering the effect. And so then when I start liking girls think I'm funny. But at that time, I don't want to be funny. I want to be the heartthrob. I want you to be like, you know what I'm saying? Because we didn't put heartthrob and humor together when we were kids.
Because you had your Denzel
cool.
who was...
Yeah, you were cool and sexy. You were that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You were Devontae from Jodeci or whatever.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you're funny. And I'm like, man, I ain't trying to be funny. I'm trying to give you the squinty eyes and the mystery. My shirt is off, but it's on.
Yeah.
And so never registering the comedy.
Okay.
So I'm just like, it's whatever. So I'm always funny. So fast forward back to college, I'm still funny. Not even trying to be funny, just funny. And so I was at a concert in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It was Common. Common was on the Electric Circus tour. So me and my brother at that concert, this girl comes out of nowhere like, you're hilarious. And I'm like, you know me? She's like, yeah, you hosted that MC battle at New Mexico State. You are hilarious. And I was like, that's when it registered like, man, I must be really funny because this girl came out of nowhere with this.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, it just echoed. It always echoed. And I was just like, all right, I'm funny. That's crazy. And then you start thinking, it's like the end of The Usual Suspects. I'm piecing it all together like, you're funny.
But why did it take till 2007 or 2008 for you to actually act on the comedy side?
Now, so it's like, all right, I want to act though.
Yeah.
That was always the focus. Like, even though I grew up watching stand-up, I never was like, I want to do that. I was like, nah, I want to act. And so I was just like, and then I got to thinking about all the comedians that became actors. I was like, that's a nice transition into acting. Yeah. I'm thinking about Robin Williams was the main blueprint for that because he was doing dramatic and comedic. And he was a stand-up comic. So I was like, Robin Williams is the template. And so I was just like, maybe I can get noticed doing stand-up. That's what gave me the drive to try stand-up.
Okay.
And then when I did it, I was like, this
is it.
This is what I was supposed to be doing.
Wow.
The whole time it was supposed to be stand-up. And so I was like, and so once I did that first open mic that went well, I did 5 minutes at the Ha Ha in North Hollywood. It went well. I went back every day. I was going back every day. It was nonstop. I was just like.
Now, when did you start elevating to work in other clubs? Did they just start reaching out or you start making relationships?
So in LA, there's open mics all over the city. So we just doing the open mic circuit. We going to the comedy store, signing up for their open mic. We doing the Improv. We doing the Laugh Factory. We doing all these spots. We doing these coffee houses. We doing every piece of comedy stage we can get our hands on. We were doing that. Yeah. So that's how you start getting into these other clubs. And so, and people see you, be like, hey, man, do my show. And I'm doing bringer shows. I'm doing all kind of comedy competitions. I was just doing everything.
And now LA is a tough market when it comes to comedy because everything that I've understood LA comedy to be is like the clubs out here don't really pay that well. Or they're pretty terrible compared to New York.
Yeah, they like those open mics that I was doing, that I started doing, I paid for that stage.
Yeah, that's what
it was $5.
I remember knowing that like LA usually pay in the beginning, pay every time. It could be a coffee shop, wherever you're paying $5 or $10 to go up.
$5 to perform.
And then at what point during this whole career do you start to see like a hope towards money promised land? Because I'm sure it was like a long road. And at this point, you know, this is what 2008. You're like, okay, I'm in. Now you found your niche. Yes. How long for that niche until you start like actually getting a check that's like, hey, honey, look what I brought home?
It was the first time I was like, where I got like substantial 3 figures.
Okay. 3 figures is what?
300. It was like $300 or whatever.
He said 3
trying
figures.
To jazz it up. 3 figures. We did a road gig because I had I
love that you remember it though.
Absolutely.
Okay.
This is the first road gig I did. It was ridiculous when I think about it now. How much I get paid for the amount of drive.
Oh, you had to drive to it too?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
So
that's still exciting though.
So my wife's cousin, my ex-wife's cousin, he was doing stand up. So he was the one that took me to the Ha to go up. His name is Tashawn Barrett. And so he was like, yo, we got a gig in New Mexico, you know, and it was like, so they pretty much, I drove my car out there. It was me, him, and 2 other comedians. So we drove all the way out to New Mexico. This is like an 11-hour drive. And to do this winery or whatever.
Okay.
And so we get out there. I think I ended up just getting 300. That was my cut. I don't know, you know, what else everybody else made. And I was just like,
that's kind of cool though, right?
This is it right here.
And how long was it set? Like,
so I ended up doing like 25 minutes.
Okay.
And this was early on. Like I was like, man, I had that much material. Yeah. And it was just like, and then I ended up staying with like some friends of mine or whatever, while the rest of the comedians was at the hotel or whatever, or the dorms, wherever they put us up at. But I was like, nah, I got people out here. I'll be over here. And so I was just like, man, but 300. Okay. Even though, you know, I drove my car, it was just ridiculous.
But that's still exciting to know that like you got to do something you love compared to the hourly rate of anything. Right. If you think about it. Yeah. It's like an incredible feat. I mean, at least that
was the most comedy money I had seen at that time. Yeah.
So then you go home, you brag, and you're like, I'm sure now you're like, I gotta get more.
Oh yeah, it was like, okay, there is something to this. Yeah, the road is where the money is. So now I have to get to the point where I can work on the road. And so, but I was just always just trying to get better, putting my hands in everything I can get my hands on, winning some comedy competitions, which brought money and bookings. And so it was just like, it was that process of just like, you know, doing everything, not turning away from stuff and just growing, getting my name out there and meeting other comedians.
And at this point, you're still doing the husband partnership.
During the day, I'm getting up in the morning, bags under my eyes. I'm like, all right, boys, I'm getting the boys ready for school. I'm making.
Do you ever
lunch.
have the speeches with your wife like, you don't understand what I'm going through at home?
Absolutely. So here's the moment where it was just like, it was a dust up because I was still playing video games too. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, she came home from work one time and I was on Call of Duty. She was just like, nah. And I was like, I could tell she was just like, nah, you over here. I'm over here working and you over here gaming it up. Yeah. I know what that looked like. And so, you know.
Now at this point, the kids are at school, I'm guessing, during the day or something?
They was in school. Yeah. Like she had got off early or whatever. I felt like I got caught. I'd rather have got caught with my dick than somebody else.
What did you feel like kind of silly?
I felt like, what you doing home? I'm on Call of Duty. And I was just like, goodness. Oh man, I feel like cold busted. So
That's hilarious.
But then there was a moment like later on, it was just like, I kind of went off a little bit because it was like, I do a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I was just like, you don't know what it's like to, I hit it with the, you don't know what it's like. I hit it with
is hard, though.
You don't know what it's like to, I'm getting these boys together, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm doing this and that. And it was just like, while also feeling like less of a man because she's the breadwinner.
Yeah, yeah. But I love to hear that you I hate to say it, but I love to hear that you had to experience that side.
I was the wife. I was the wife that was getting overlooked for my contributions. So
now and
then I got a job after that. After that moment, I was like, let me get a job.
Like a day job, so you can still do the night.
So I had to find a job where it was flexible enough to where I could still pursue acting, comedy, still hold the kids down. So I was able to find something through my friend Sean Jones. Mm-hmm. It was like an inventory where we counted inventory at different stores. Mm-hmm. You can pretty much set your own schedule. Okay. So because of that moment, I was like, let me get a job. Okay. So I was still holding the boys down.
Mm-hmm. So now you're at least you're like, hey, you was really doing your thing. Okay, I like that. I like that.
I was trying to.
Damn, it must have been traumatizing.
I was trying to do the best that I could while still staying focused on the reason we're out here.
But you found something that can find the balance. Yeah. I like that you did that. Yeah, that's cool.
Because it was cool. Man, it was and I didn't hold that against her because I know what that looked like. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here working. You know what I'm saying? I'm on my feet all day, and you over here playing Call of Duty. I was just like, so I was like, all right. I just had to have that little blowout real quick. But then I was like, you know what? She right. Let me contribute money as well. Yeah. And so that's why I got that job. Okay. But once the comedy started.
So when does it trickling where you get to the point where you're like, buy inventory job?
Well, I quit that job pretty quickly because it was like I was doing, because all I'm thinking about while I'm doing that gig, because it's at night, because it's after the stores close, mm-hmm. I'm just thinking about.
Wait, I thought it was allowing you to do comedy and take care of the boys.
No, it was a night gig.
Oh,
so
you were allowed, you could make money, but you could and take care of the boys, but you couldn't do comedy.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So it was just like, this ain't gonna work because I was like, because it had to be when the stores were, down. Mm-hmm. So I was just like, and I'm thinking about comedy the whole time while I'm
that's terrible.
Checking the inventory. I'm thinking about material. And so it was just like, so I was, scheduling myself so I could still do comedy several days a week and work. And then I was like, once I started getting more and more gigs, I just quit sending in my schedule. I was like,
okay, so you were starting to get enough to like phase out the inventory job.
Yeah,
and without your wife being like,
yeah, because because she saw the work that was being put in.
Yeah, and I'm sure she saw the effort too. Like, hey, he's trying, he listened, he tried. And I think women, they want to just see effort.
Yeah,
like,
just
hey,
something.
You heard me. You heard me. It penetrated.
Right. Okay. It definitely penetrated for sure.
So, at what point in your career are you like, I 100% own this craft? Is it like your first acting gig, or is it like your first, what's that first big pivotal moment where you're like, I got this, like 100%, never looking back with a check attached? Because I think until you fully get a check that can sustain yourself, it's still a little bit of.
Still.
Am I doing the right thing?
Still.
Oh, it's still like that?
Kind of, sort of.
Really?
Not necessarily with comedy as much. Acting, 100% still. Because, I'm not an established actor like that.
Yeah.
Still to this day. So it's like, but comedy is like, here's what I loved about comedy more so than acting, where I felt like, okay, I can keep this going. Of course, social media has changed the game tremendously.
When you dominated it pretty well.
It's allowed me for a lot of people to see me everywhere. And so now if I come to your city, it's Tony. Even if you know me for the voiceover, you still be like, let's go see him live. Let's see what he's like live. And so it's like, and the reason I focused so hard on stand-up over acting was because I was more in control of my own destiny with stand-up. With acting, you're at the mercy of casting director, producer, director, script, whatever. There's so many things that are out of your control when you're just an actor.
Yeah.
You don't have the right look.
Yeah.
You didn't look right on camera with this other person. Whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Whether you book it or whether you don't book it, it's so much out of your control. It's just like, hey, I can't live like that.
Mm-hmm.
But with stand-up, I control the table more. It's like I can book my own gigs. I can sign up for this. I can do this. I can do my own show and just promote it myself.
Yeah.
And there's so many avenues that I have so much more. Now I feel like a business owner.
Yeah.
Now I feel like an entrepreneur for real.
Yeah.
Because it's like I'm putting all the work in and I'm seeing the results of the work I'm putting in.
Yeah.
And then when I do perform, I'm getting the feedback from the customer base directly. So it's just like, oh, I had a great time. It's like, and I was able to control that myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what made me be like, all right, stand up is the move.
Now, when you look at the way things have changed, because now we're in a whole different era. Like I always tell my dad, like he'll talk to me about a show, and I'm like, Dad, when was the last time you really went home and watched TV?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I barely know how to work my TV at this point. I know there's a Netflix button.
Yeah.
There's a Amazon button. You know what I'm saying? Like I push whatever button or like slide to the icon. But the last time I actually flipped through a television, I can't tell you. And I heard, I'm not going to say name drop the person, but I was just telling Jared back there that like Amazon is now paying for content way more than even networks are.
Right.
So now when you see the shift, do you still feel like acting, like you can't control acting the way you controlled comedy?
Still. Because it's like, unless I was like a writer, director, or something like that, it would be a different conversation. But since I'm just like purely just on the acting side of it right now, it's like I still got to audition, still got to, unless they come to me with like, yo, we want you in this. That's the dream. That's the ideal situation. Yeah. I have booked stuff like that, but like, and now too, we're so oversaturated with content and different platforms on where you can see anything. It becomes like, because you got Netflix, you got Amazon Prime,
and now you have all
Hulu,
these other people that are like, Peacock. I want to create my own platform.
Exactly. And so it's just like boom, 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 boom. So it's people are oversaturated with like choices, options. Yeah. So it's a lot of content out there.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, and we got streaming platforms, and you know, movie theaters are struggling, and so it's just like, and I'm just sitting there like, well, regardless of what happens, as long as there's not another pandemic, there's no substitute for live entertainment.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
You gotta take your girl out.
Yes.
You gotta take your girl out. Y'all can't be watching Netflix all the time. She's gonna be like, let's go somewhere.
Let's go somewhere. Get us out the house.
Let's go somewhere. Yeah. I want to be out. I want to be cute. I want to be somewhere.
Exactly.
And so live entertainment does that. So it's like, and stand-up is live. So it's like.
So what would you say like were the hardest things to digest as a comedian?
As far
as all the way up to this day, like what are some of the hardest things to like digest as a comic?
The hardest thing is just like the struggle. It's like, you know, you go through so much comedy, years and years of just like, just getting by.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But even then, like, I got divorced in 2012. So I was living off of stand-up and whatever I booked on the sketch side or whatever. And so that's when I started working with All Deaf and stuff like that. And I was like, whew. It was like every month I was like, whew. Thank you, Laugh Factory, like booking me. So but I'm living off the craft, but it was just like, whew.
Like you're surviving every month.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know what that's like.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with that. I'm doing that today.
Surviving month to month.
Okay,
like, all right, man, let's go carry me through. I won this competition. Whew, needed that.
And you're also, I'm guessing you're amazing with money at this point.
Oh yeah.
Like you know how to live on a budget. You know how your cash flow works.
Budget McGee.
Savings.
Oh, I
love that.
I was just like, and I had a roommate, so that's taking some of the edge off. And so I'm just like, bare minimum, getting the boys what they need, saving as much as possible, paying the rent, paying the utilities, anything wrong with the car, just like, I've just been good with money.
Good.
And so.
Now, that's something you had to learn during this whole pursuit, or were you like that before?
I think I started learning it once I was in college. Those college days when we was dead broke. We was dead broke. I think like.
Yeah, I could tell because you was eating bread with this cream of corn.
Let me tell you something. Because I learned it squandering the financial aid money.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I squandered all that money on clothes or whatever. And so now I'm just like, I'm looking like a jackass now because I'm in the super struggle.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have to pay this money back because I got loans. And so just like, so those were the lessons. My dad always told us, save your money. Save your money. He's like, man, watch out, man. Watch out. And so he instilled in us early, like, save your money. We was like, all right, sure. But then it was like, he was right. And so all of that. And I'm still that way. Like, Good. Like this year, 2024. That's the most money I ever spent in like a year because it was just like, I was just sitting on money. All the money that I had accumulated over all this time was just like, okay, I need to buy a house.
Yeah, I've been seeing your stories. You got a nice house. You're renovating it and building it. And all.
Finally bought a house, and it was like, and this was after like, I paid my mom's house off, and then I was just like, I still didn't have a house myself, but I was perfectly happy with doing that for her. I was like, man, life is, I could check out right now, and I'm good. But it was like, and then my ex-girlfriend, she was just like, well, think about like, something you want to leave behind for Sincere. Yeah. And so I was just like, oh, you're right.
Generational wealth.
That's what it was. And so it was just like, all right, I got to make a move. Because I was scared to buy a house because it just looked like a lot. Cali prices are ridiculous.
Crazy.
I was just like.
The first time I bought a house as an entrepreneur, you have imposter syndrome. You're like, are they really going to believe that I'm going to survive? And buying a house, I think, is the ultimate test because a bank has to believe you're not going to go broke in a year. And so I want to know, like, how did it feel to know that the bank was like, you're approved?
It was crazy.
Did you feel like, I'm official, or did you just know, the whole time, or did you have a little bit of imposter syndrome throughout the whole thing, and then you get that final stamp of, for me at least, it was like, I'm legit.
Right.
I'm fucking legit. A bank said yes to the craziest gamble of life.
Right.
Because they are rigorous. They're like, why did you move this money to this money and this account to this account and this account to this account, and why'd you do this and this and this? And
they
this?
Be in there.
They be in there.
Y'all asking too many questions.
I was told.
It's legit.
Yeah.
It's legit. Trust me. Nah, we don't trust nobody. I'm like, all right.
After getting my house, I just remember going, I am never going to move my money around the accounts the way even though I do now because I'm struggling a little bit, but usually if I'm good, I keep them very separated because my first house experience, they questioned every transaction. They're like, why did you move this from this account, this to this account? Where did this money come from? And this. I'm like,
right.
The money's there, isn't it?
Right.
Like,
you see it.
You think I'm going to remember 2000 and da-da-da-da?
Right.
Like,
I got the access codes,
but
man.
it felt good. Did it feel legit? Like, tell me about it.
So I thought about getting a house in 2021. And it was like, that would have been
the best time, by the way.
That's when I put my toes in the water. Like, all right, let me see what this is like. Okay. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know. Because I knew I needed, it was like, because I was living under my means for so long.
Yeah. I like that.
Because I was scared.
That. Yeah.
I was in that same 2-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
Dirty carpet. It was just like, but then I was like, all right, I want my boys to live with me, so I need more space. So I was just like, all right, I need to find a bigger space. So I was going to rent a bigger spot. But the Burbank prices, was tripping.
They're crazy, yeah.
And so I was like, man, let me look out in Santa Clarita or whatever. And then I was like, I should buy a house.
Yep, you should, especially at the way rents were, yeah.
So they gave me a quote, the pre-approval. And I was just like, I was looking at the pre-approval they approved me for compared to what the houses were going for in Santa Clarita. And I was like, I didn't really like that. I was just like, dang, that's not enough. And so I was just like, because I didn't want to settle for something. Of course,
yeah.
So then I was like, all right, I'll just rent. And then I was just going back and forth. But then it was hard.
I wish I knew you back then because I would have told you settle.
Man.
Settle. I would have instantly told you to settle.
Man.
I tell all my girlfriends that. It's your first. Just settle. You're just looking at gaining equity.
I was just like,
I can't believe you did it. So you waited till 2024. So you're in the high interest rate.
So now the interest rate now is just like
crazy. And the prices are still
it was disgusting.
Put it like this.
But
what?
The approval, I saw the jump in my pre-approval.
Okay, that's good though. And you're working towards something at this point.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, that's a big difference in what I was pre-approved for in 2020,
good.
2020,
well,
2021.
also at that time, it was probably really high risk, yeah.
Yeah, so I was just like,
okay.
Now I can work with this.
Okay.
And so I went in way under what they approved me for.
Of course.
But
I'm glad to hear that too.
Yeah, because
you know your financial literacy.
I do. I'd be like, I'm not pushing it to the limit.
Yeah.
And so that felt good. I was scared shitless though. Like I got cold feet several times throughout the process. Even after I bought it, I was still just like,
that was me.
Did I make the right choice?
Yeah, you'll realize that I always like to tell people I bought my house for $260,000.
Oh. What, here
like
in Cali?
10 years ago.
In Cali.
In Cali, it's a townhouse, but hey,
still.
And I begged all my girlfriends to buy homes at that time.
Yeah,
I was
with the low interest rate.
I had my interest rate is 4.25%.
Okay,
and I also did as an entrepreneur, you know the game. You like to hide money in the tax error, so that bites you. It's it's twofold. You don't report as much, you get lower approval. So at the time, I was very fortunate. So thank God I got approved for that. Because let me tell you, my life has been nothing but like it's all roller coaster, high risk or whatever. So what I did was, because the house payments are so low, every Christmas I would Christmas present the principal.
Yes.
So I always do like a $20,000 a year principal payment on December. Every December.
Yeah.
My house will be paid off like next year.
Oh, that's fire.
That's crazy. And all my friends, what they tell me? You're an idiot. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? And I'm like, well, guess what? We're gonna Airbnb this bitch like next year.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this on that principal thing. Do you have to specifically
mark principal only on the actual check?
Oh, so you
cannot, because I made that mistake. So they have so many different loan programs out there for everybody that's ever interested in buying a home. I always advise you, like, there's nonprofits in LA that will do it's like $75 and they teach you a whole course on home buying. I think I paid for it. It was worth every penny. A lot of times if you graduate, they give you like if you complete the course, they'll give you like some kind of down payment assistance. So I did that when I bought mine. This was like 10 years ago. I begged all my girlfriends. Of course, I was like 30. So, girls were still young. They were like, girl, you tripping. Whatever. You wait till you get married. I was like, well, just in case.
Yeah, right.
Just in case. But no, there's so many programs out there. But one of my homies, like 2 years after, one of my ex-boyfriends, 2 years after I bought the house, was like, you're an idiot. Like, you're going to pay all this interest. Like, look at how much you're going to pay for the house.
Right.
Later. And I told you I'm like half Jewish. So I looked at it and then I said, I realized that I would be paying by the time I was done, I was going to be paying like $400,000 or $500,000 for the house.
Yeah.
So when I realized that they had this mortgage payment calculator you can Google. So I Googled it and I just put in how much would I have to pay it off by the time I'm 40.
Right.
And it was like $20,000 a year.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, at the end of every year, I'll just add an extra $20,000. But also, if you do just an extra house payment, it cuts it down like 10 years.
Okay.
So, but I do that method. I'm just like, fuck it.
Yeah, because I want.
And then, but you got to remember, the best part of owning a house is that you get to write off the interest. So once you get to the principal point, so your tax are gonna be great this year and for the next couple of years. I'm at the point where there's no more interest left, really. I'm on the principal. I make a payment, it's like 90% is going to principal at this point.
That's fire.
But
you have to say.
But the catch now is that if you're an entrepreneur, on the tax end, it's going to hurt.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Because, when you're married and you own real estate, those are great write-offs. The most money I've ever gotten back in my life was the day I got married. I'm like, I didn't know you could get money back.
Wow.
So I've learned a lot, but I'm excited I love financial literacy. So it's really nice to hear that you went through that. And I get to see your home as it progresses online. Yeah. You're doing a lot of work.
Yeah. It was I might as well make it. Because I've never had
a 6-foot person tub. I saw.
I can fit in there. I can stretch out, point my toes.
Yeah. And it's tough, finding that first contractor. I did that like when I first got my home, and the bill, they said it was going to be like a certain amount, and then it came out a lot bigger.
Of course.
And I had a complete meltdown. Complete meltdown. I was like, whoa. And it was a terrible job. So
oh, wow.
I was like, I'm going to stay away from contractors for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to hear this. What are some milestones like in your story that like particularly stood out to you in your career that were like, I've officially arrived, besides the like big home purchase?
Like the first time I was on Last Comic Standing on NBC, I was like, yo, I'm on TV as a comic. That was a big moment. It didn't change my life.
At the time, did you think it was?
I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, that's it. I'm in.
Man, I'm on the road now, baby. But I didn't go far enough into it. And then I did another season of Last Comic Standing. I was like, man, this is it right here. But it still wasn't it right there. And so, but those were big moments. Like when I booked that and I did, especially that first time on Last Comic, I had a really good set, and I thought. And then it was like I didn't advance. I was like, I was crushed. So that was a big moment. And then when I went on the road, when I went on tour with Kevin on Stage, the Real Comedians tour, it was me, Kevin Tahir. That was a great moment because it was like, yo, we're on the road doing these shows. So it was like my first tour. Yeah. I was like, oh, this is fantastic. And then we did it again. We went back to back on it. So I was just like, those moments. And then when I went back on the road by myself and the tickets were selling, that's when I was just like,
wow, yeah, that would be a huge moment. Yeah.
That was the moment where I was just like, and so all of those little moments right there is just like, man, I really so now it's like I'm just in a good space of, and I'm in a space of, and I know people get annoyed when people talk like this, where you get in a certain financial situation and you're like, money isn't everything. And people be like, oh, shut up. You know what I'm saying?
But I'm eating while broke. Money matters, no?
Man, money does matter.
Yeah.
And it affords you, but it's like, because I lost my oldest son.
I know.
And so when I say money doesn't matter, I would give it all to get him back. So it's just like, I would give everything in my account right now to get him back. So it's like, even with the money, you're still heartbroken. Yeah. So it's like, dang. And then, so now I'm in a space, and me and Kev on stage laugh about this all the time because he knows how I am. I will walk away from money now that I wouldn't have before for peace of mind. Because since I did lose my son like that, I'm looking for peace above all else. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, they're offering this much money, but I know they're annoying to work with.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask you. Yeah. What is, like, have you had a real bad example of like a deal gone bad where you're like, never again?
Well, it's not really like a bad deal. Well,
a non-peace of mind deal.
But just like, if I know the production will be raggedy in terms of how they run it, what's going on, I'll be like, I'm good. Or if they get on my nerves too much, or if they doing too much stuff short notice, or this, that, and the third, I'm like, I'm good. Okay. But the money, I'm like, nah, it's not. Because if I'm annoyed, it's just like, I'd rather not deal with it. Because I'm always looking for the peace. And so since I'm not a big spender, I don't stress about, I need the money. Of course, I can use the money. I need the money. I want to make more money. But it's like, if I got to sacrifice my little nerves for it, I'm walking away. Yeah. And so I feel like I'm in a healthy relationship with like finances.
It sounds like it. It sounds like you're good at it too.
Yeah, it's just like, I won't stress myself out for more money. Yeah. And so, but as before, I'd be like, I'll do anything for the money.
Yeah. Well, yeah, when you're coming from this, that
makes
it's like,
sense. I'll do whatever.
But you've been stable for a while. I have a very difficult question to ask.
Okay.
With everything that happened with your son, yes, dealing with that whole grief period, how did you like pull through it, especially being a comic?
So, so he passed August 3rd, 2021, and so I ended up going back on the road at the end of August to Atlanta.
Okay.
And so, because I was like, because of course, my team was just like, hey,
yeah,
if you need to not do nothing, we understand. I was like, and I was just like, I don't want to just sit and do nothing. I want to make people laugh. So I got back on the road and finished out the rest of the tour for that year. And making people laugh was beneficial for me because I'm getting that good energy. Because laughter is just great energy.
Yeah.
Giving back. Making people laugh makes me feel fantastic. And so, and then to hear about what people are going through themselves, like, man, I can't do a comedy show it just made, you know what I'm saying? I was having I was in a dark place, this, that, and the third. And so it's like that good energy exchange is just like, I needed that.
Okay.
Because if not, I was just going to sit and just be done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it was like the working helped keep me going through that. And then I was like, but I did realize, I need to sit down and
did you
take it.
Yeah.
So
grief,
I took
right?
it from like August 3rd through like August 23rd. I was just, taking it, walking still like I always do, trying to get everything together because we had like a little COVID outbreak within the family around that time. It was a mess. And so, and I was just like, all right. So I finished out that tour, and in the first 2 months of 2022, I was like, I'm going to just sit down and just grieve, because I was never running from the grief. It was just, I need to do something to bring me joy within the grief.
Okay.
And so then when I sat down, I was able to take it in. I was just like, all right. And so then I got back to work. And so now, and my friend Shantae, she had lost her husband. And she was just like, the best thing I learned is, grief comes in waves. Don't fight the waves.
Don't fight it. Okay.
All right. So it's just like the water coming in. You just go with it and wherever it takes you. And so I live like that.
Okay.
Like when I have a wave, I take it. It's just like, all right, here we go. Like yesterday was his birthday, January 3rd. So that day is always the hardest of the year. And so I was just like, I just chilled yesterday. I was crying off and on all day. And then just keep going. And then that's what I do. And so, and I talk about him a lot. Like, because a lot of times, I've been watching this show called Cross on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
And he's dealing with grief because his wife got murdered at the top of the show. And the way he's handling the grief just pisses me off because he has 2 children that lost their mom as well. But he can't talk. He can't talk to them about her or play this. And I was like, I never wanted to be in a situation where I can't talk about my son because it's like, oh, I'll get too sad or whatever. It's like, no, it's just, let's talk about him. I'm always down. I'm down to talk about what happened, how I got through it, anytime.
And with your other son, you're able to go through that?
Yeah, because it's like, we never want, because a lot of times when we lose somebody, they kind of turn into the name that should not be mentioned.
Yeah.
Or
like the scary.
Yeah, it's like, don't bring up.
Yeah.
And I never want that to be the case because I feel like you're kind of just pushing your loved one. You're tucking it in, you're putting it in the trunk. And then I feel like the love and the memory can't live on fully like that. So it's like, I'm always down to like, yeah, remember Serene? Remember y'all was doing this? So we always like, okay. So for Christmas, my son lives in San Francisco. He graduated and he stayed up there. And so me, my ex-wife and her husband, we all went up there to be with him for Christmas. And so, and we just be talking like, random memories. We talking about Serene, we talking about them, we talking about.
But it's in like a good spirit.
Absolutely.
Okay,
it's
cool.
like, we want his memory to live on.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like it. I still think it's incredibly tough, like from the outside looking in.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it looks, but I commend you.
Yeah, because it was like, because, I used to see parents that lost their children, on the news or whatever, and they be talking to the news and like, my son was killed this weekend. I'll be like, how are you able to form a sentence?
Dude.
That's like, I would think that, like, how are you able to, and then it happened to us. And so it's like, and I'm sitting here forming sentences. Yeah. Like in ground zero, I was able to be on the news and be on this and that. And I'm just like, how am I able to do this?
I literally just told my twin that the other day. I was like, I had a bad dream,
Mm-hmm.
a terrible dream. Thought I was gonna die.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'll be honest, Beck. Like, I think that would be the straw for me. They definitely think that would be the day that I'm done. Like, you know.
Yeah.
And that's why I said from the outside, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know?
Because it was like, I would never, because I used to, as parents, we always have that thought, like, if anything ever happened to any of our kids, I would die too.
I'm dead.
But then it's like, when the unfortunate reality hits you in the mouth, it's like, okay, what if I did shut down?
Yeah.
Now my other son suffers.
Yeah.
Now it's like, my loved ones suffer, I suffer, and who you lost would never want you to shut down because they're gone.
Do you empathize with, even though the guy from the Cross show bothers you, does a small part of you empathize with him?
Absolutely, because it's like, it's hard, because you never want to tell people how to grieve.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, when his son was asking him, like, how come you never talk about mom or whatever? And then he was like, well, his son would ask him questions about mom, and then he'd be like, he started fumbling around or whatever. And then his son told him, was like, well, when she died, it was like I lost both of you. And so that's when he was like, oh, like they hit him in that moment, because he was running from the conversations before. So it was just frustrating to see him run so much, especially when the kids were like, Dad, you know what I'm saying? And so it was like, and so I never wanted to be like that. Like, I was always aware of just like, got to be there for sincere. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, and not only that, like, I know if I was to pass away, I would never want my loved ones to be like in the bed all day.
Of course.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And so, and another thing that gets me through a lot of this is that I don't have regrets as far as my relationship with Serene. Yeah. Because we were good.
Yeah.
That's what keeps me the strong.
Tight.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think that's what helps me a lot, is because there was no regret. There was no underlying beef. There was none of that.
Yeah. There's no no regrets.
Because if you got regrets, that's a whole nother emotional weight on you with the grief. It's like, man, I wish I would have, I could have, you know what I'm saying? That'll tear you in half. Yeah. And so that we were all good, and the last words were, I love you too. Okay. That's what he left here knowing. He was loved, and we were good. Okay. So that brings me peace.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't mean to go down that.
It's all good.
I thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. I didn't get to touch on everything I wanted to, because we went hella over the minutes. But thank you so much. How can everyone keep up with you? Can you tell us a little bit about the tour directly into that camera?
Okay, this camera right here. So it's called the Replenish the Pockets Tour. Like I said before, I spent a lot of money this past year. Good money. I wasn't wasting money, but it was a lot of money spent. So now I got to replenish the pockets. Now I'm back on the road. You can find my tour dates at TonyBakerComedy.com. Really keep up with me on Instagram. That's my main primary area of where I promote. Tony Baker on Instagram. No underscores, no nothing. It's just straight Tony Baker. I'll be doing the Bay Area, Sacramento, Tampa, Miami, Raleigh, Chicago, New York, Charlotte, DC, Houston. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody, but my whole schedule is up. I'm promoted every day. So just stay tuned, man. I would love for y'all to come to these live shows. And at the end of the year, me and Kev are going to do something with the Ball Brothers. We're going to do a tour for that as well. In the later half of the year. So I'm out here, man.
He's out here in the streets, so pull up and see him live.
Yes, replenish the pockets.
Replenish the pockets. We want to see the house, and you'll give us updates on the house. We can still continue to see the updates. Absolutely. So let's replenish and make sure this house looks magnificent. Yeah. So replenish those pockets tour.
Yes, that's the tour name.
At Tony Baker. Peace out, y'all. Thanks for tuning in to Eating While Broke. Peace.
Eating While Broke.